Hello, lovelies, and welcome to my channel. I am LA, your Empress of Love, and I'm coming to you, bringing you the tea. However, this is a new channel. It is LA Empress of Love, Twin Flame. And as the title indicates, I'm going to be talking today about the twin flame journey. My. The twin flame journey, it seems to be quite a controversial subject. As I am on the twin flame journey, I cannot disclose the name of my twin because as we are in separation, he has me blocked and is not answering on the other line. And on the other line, I think he has me on Do Not Disturb. Anyways, you get the picture. For those that are on the twin flame journey and are in separation, then you know what I mean. I may throw a few cards if I feel the need to, but I really would like to just converse about the journey, our journey. That's my 29. As I indicated, we are in separation currently. It's rough. I'm doing this video today, or this morning, whenever it is for you guys. It's morning for me, late morning, because I heard someone say, and that someone, her name is Loretta. She is my somewhat like life coach, career coach type counselor. Not currently, but former. And I heard her say, when you can't take anymore, give. And that was one of the truest statements that I had ever heard, and having heard her say that, because it's just as it indicates, when you can't take anymore, give. And I was at my wit's end in this journey, and I began to feel like I couldn't take anymore. And so I decided I would give, and sharing our journey. I have been relatively secretive about it because it's not something that I understand. It's not something that I know of other people that could help me to understand it. There are a lot of readers that are doing videos on the subject, but it's, to me, a limited amount of true information. And I don't understand how you could give information on such a subject if you have not gone through it or if you're not on it. And that is the twin flame journey. For me, I can't say where I am other than that we're in separation. I don't know if it's the beginning, the end, the middle, or whatever. I don't know how long this madness lasts. Prior to being in a twin flame journey myself, I knew nothing of a twin flame, much less twin flame journey. I didn't know, I had never heard of it. In my doing some research regarding how I was feeling, about my twin, I stumbled upon the phrase as well as information pertaining to twin flame journey. And it was when I ran across something that said 5 signs, 8 signs, 12 signs, or something like that, um, on a twin flame journey, or of a twin flame journey, something like that. When I began to read the signs, I knew that that's where we were. One of the signs was that when you are in a twin flame journey or on a twin flame journey, one of the first things that you will realize upon activation is that you will feel as though your twin is the last stop as it relates to intimacy or sex. Okay, you will feel like you don't want to be with another person ever again in life. You will feel totally complete as it relates to relationships, sexual relationships, that is intimacy. And upon being activated, initially I did not know what was going on, but that was one of the first feelings that I recognized that I had. I had a feeling of, wow, if me and this person never ever gets together sexually or have any type of sexual intimacy, I felt complete and whole as if I had been with him. And I felt otherworldly. I felt like if our knowing each other was like something from another galaxy. I had never felt more alive, and at the same time feeling out of this world-ish is the best way I could describe it. Or like if we, the two of us, belonged to another galaxy and we were visiting or something like that, it was just so something that I couldn't explain, something that I had never experienced, something that there were no words. The next thing was having an acquaintance with the person, but indirectly. And when I read that, and I read the details of it, meaning that an example that they gave was that you might have lived and or grown up in the same neighborhood, but not have been acquainted with each other at the time before you're coming back into contact with each other and becoming activated. Well, that was a dead ringer because my twin lived in the, so we lived on one street and my twin lived on another street. So our backyards faced each other. And I knew him, at least I felt that I did, because he was in my sister's class. They were classmates. And he played with my cousins or hung out with my cousins or something like that, my boy cousins, when we were younger, because we all grew up in the same house, my cousins and I. And the one thing is that he used to lick his lip like that, but I can't even put my tongue up there like that. But he used to lick his lip until it was like raw. And so I don't know why I was so fascinated by that, but I always remembered that about him. And so as life would go on, I always talked about him to my children, like giving them stories about my childhood, and he always managed to come up in my stories. And I didn't pay attention to that until one day I was discussing with one of my daughters. I was talking about him. And when I talked about him licking his lips, she said, wait a minute. She said, is blank the person that you've been talking to us about all our lives? She said, and I said, yeah. And she said, oh my God, I feel like I know him. He's so much a part of our lives. You always talked about him. And I said, I did. She said, are you kidding me? Heck yeah. Every time you start with your war stories, you would tell us about him. Or something to that effect, she said. And she just went on and on and on about it. And I'm thinking to myself, I didn't even realize. I mean, I know that what she's saying is true, but I didn't realize that I had incorporated him into my life that way. Another thing was that his mom and I would be on the phone for long periods of time, and she would be talking about him. And at the time, he was married with a family, and it never, ever dawned on me that I would ever be in the same space that he was in, because he lived a totally different lifestyle than I. And he was just, I just always felt like he was up here and I was down here in terms of lifestyles, okay? Because I mean, I've always been relatively simple in my lifestyle and living. And he was always flashy, flamboyant, and, in the life, whatever, So, in the sense of the fast life, if you know what I mean, that way. So, I never, thought that I would be in the company of someone like him. And other than, going to the movies and seeing, somebody in that lifestyle. It's kind of like if you know the show Power and you know Ghost, think of having known Ghost from afar and then getting the opportunity to be in his space. That's the way I felt, okay? Like that. So, it was totally fascinating, amazing. It was so many different feelings that I had about it. But that's in line, again, with having known him. And I'm laughing because I'm reminded of, in one of our first conversations, I talked to him about what I just said. And he knew me from can of paint. In fact, he said to me, there's no way that I knew you from before, because if I did, we would have had 15 kids together. And that just blew me, because I always wanted 10 kids, and I've never ever met a guy that wanted to have like a lot of kids. And so we had that in common. So that brings me to the third thing. You will have things in common, though your lives were not in connection, that you knew of, or that you knew of at the time. You will find that when you start to compare stories, your lives will parallel each other. And that a good example would be, like I said, wanting to have a lot of children. I always wanted 10 kids, and he obviously wanted a lot of kids. So that was like a plus for me, because I'm like, damn, I wish I would have met him before. So, with his kids and my kids, we would have had all of our kids with each other and not with different people, And that would have been so cool, for me, because I always wanted an empire. I never thought of being an empress, or anything like that before I got into tarot, because I kind of knew what that was, But I just always loved being a mom and having children, That was the thing that I always loved being, was mom, and caring for my family. In fact, my family say Lola and her kids, that's kind of like the narrative. And it's true. For a long time I fought it. I used to get upset when they would say that. And then I come to realize that they were right. That's pretty much it. Lola and her kids, So anyways, the fourth thing, going back to the third thing about having things in common. Like, you may have done the same type of work, but at a different location in your lives. We had a lot of that comparison. He had a lot of things that he did, and God knows I had a lot of odd jobs, but it was even down to, he was a limo driver, always wanted to be a limo driver. So it's those type of things, The fourth thing, and I'm trying to remember these things off the top of my head, was that I don't know, it'll come to me, but in reading the different signs, and as I said, it'll come to me, or you can just Google signs of a twin flame, and you'll see that they have, some sites are 5 signs, 8 signs, 12 signs, whatever, but anyways, one of the things that I know one of the fourth thing was, when you are together, you will feel that there's no one in the world but the two of you. And I felt that instantly with him. When we would talk on the phone for long hours at a time, I felt like the world stopped. And I felt like every issue, every situation, anything you could think of, I felt like it was all wrapped up into he and I. The people that are on the journey will probably be the only people that will be able to resonate with what I'm saying, because there's no way possible for me that I could have understood this if I were not living it. The fifth thing that they talked about was that you would have thoughts of the other person nonstop. I mean, I began to think about him to the point that I would attempt to do something and find myself maybe an hour later in the same spot, having done nothing but just been thinking about him the whole while, and it was like so weird, because it was like, now I know I can get lost in thought, but this was like beyond, it was abnormal. It was actually, getting lost in thought is an understatement, because I mean, it got to be embarrassing, put it that way, because it was something that I was like, what's wrong with you? I mean, I start off to do something at 1 hour, and many times, I'm saying 1 hour later, no, it'd be like sometimes 3 or 4 hours later, and I'm in the same spot, and I was only sitting there thinking about him. What was I thinking? All kind of things. I've even been driving and had the experience of being with him, but in a different time frame, a different location. It was actually a different world because it was a world where the streets were dirt roads, and we were like in some type of like uh horse and buggy type thing, but it wasn't fancy. It was the transportation of the time, and it was like, I'm gonna say it was probably a split second, but it felt like um I don't know how long, but it was very detailed. Um, it was very detailed, and I saw us. The attire that we were wearing was very um, archaic. It was like way, way, way past life stuff, And we were together, and the feeling that I had, it was like he touched my soul. That's the way I felt. And I snapped out of it. I can't say when I went into it or when I came out of it, but I know I went into it and I snapped out of it. And I was driving. And I was like, what the hell was that? I, I asked myself, did I um, um, astral project into the past times, or what just happened to me, And there was another time when I'm driving and I'm driving down the street, and I began to feel as if he was making love to me while I'm driving. I've never been, I never did anything like that before, like do it while my dude is driving or anything like that in the car. So I know that it wasn't something that I remembered from having happened with someone else. Certainly didn't happen with him, but it was like so real. The feeling was so real. I even said to him, you better stop making love to me while I'm driving down the street. He said, what are you talking about? And I said, I was driving. I told him what happened. I was driving and I felt you making love to me. And it was like out of this world. It was out of this world. And so, I'm telling you, well, that's one of the things that they also talked about in the signs, that twin flame couples, their sex life is like off the chain. It's nothing like anything that you've experienced with anyone else. And I mean, I don't know. Since they say that twin flames are one soul split into, no, one soul that has two bodies, but you have the same soul. So I don't know if you would say that that's like making love to yourself or what. But my twin and I have not been intimate in any way. No kissing, nothing, none of that. First time coming into contact with him, he and some other family members were coming in to a place. You know how you just hug everybody, that type thing. I think that's when we got activated, because my daughters were saying to me that I was acting as if I wanted to jump his bones. One daughter even said to me, I thought you were going to take him in the alley and do him. I thought you were going to take him out back and do him. I said, what? We were only talking about old times and talking about people that we knew from the old neighborhood and stuff like that. And then my son-in-law said, and he act like he wanted to do you too. And I'm like, I did not see that. I even asked him, I said, did you see like the next time I talked to him, I said, did you see that we were acting like if we wanted to, do something with each other? And he said, no. And I said, that's what I'm being accused of. I happened to be drinking a little wine, a little Chardonnay. And my daughter said, give me your cup. You can't have no more. And I said, why? And they said, you doing a little too much. And so later when we talked about it, well, they said enough then, but later on when we talked about it, they went into detail and they said, oh, you were acting like you wanted to jump his bones. You wanted to be. I said, I did not see that. And I didn't. I did not see that. I did not feel like that. I actually was talking to him about his mom. And I began to feel as if I was channeling her, because I was reminded of times when we were on the phone for hours, his mom and me, and she has now since passed on. And I was just telling him like the things she used to say about him, because she was like so crazy about him. He and his sisters both. I mean, but it's like he was her world. And I was just conveying that to him, and as I said, we were also talking about the old neighborhood, a lot of people that he knew, that I knew, and it was so, like, ironic that we never crossed paths in the way that you would think that we should have. Because, like I said, I would talk on the phone with his mom for hours at the time. I mean, he had moved out of the home and everything, but she would say when he was coming over, and most of the time he was coming to bring us some money or something like that, And she just adored him. She just doted on him. At least to me, she did, And so it was just weird that family members thought that he and I were interested in each other. And then, well, actually, it blew me away when a family member said that he wanted my phone number. And so I'm like, okay, give it to him. I mean, like, everybody has my number. It's all over YouTube on my channel, So, and the day that they came over, I had my cards on the table. So I thought that everyone had taken a card. At least I tried to give everyone a card. So I certainly thought he had taken one too, because they were right on the table, But he was giving my phone number. He called me and we had conversation. And first thing I said to him was, I don't talk to married men. Okay? Because he had told me he was married and showed me photos of his wife and daughter. And I mean, he has other kids too. But this was like his not first marriage, okay? So I said that to him. He said, oh, I'm going through a divorce. He said, my family doesn't know about it, but I'm going through a divorce. And my initial thought was, let him get through this divorce and then tell him to give you a call. But then I was reminded of when I was going through a divorce and in the interim of that met someone and got involved with this person on a deep level. And I felt like I was led by the Spirit to be at least a friend in his life, because that's what he was asking for. He wasn't asking for a relationship. He was asking for friendship. And he said to me, I've been through a lot and I'm not looking for a relationship. I am looking for friendship. And I was turned on by that, because to ask for what you need in that way, to me, that took a lot of courage, And I was willing to be that, a friend. As we began talking for long hours at a time, of course, my feelings started to grow, and I felt like they were getting out of control. Because the second time that he called me, I looked at the phone, saw his number. I wasn't going to answer. because I was like, oh my God, I'm feeling something that I shouldn't be feeling for someone who's married. I mean, I don't deal with married men. And I decided to answer. And we talked. But as time went on, we spent a lot of time on the phone talking. And as I said, I fell in love with him, deeply in love with him, I felt. And I said, I need to tell him how I am feeling because he asked for friendship. So I need to let him know how I'm feeling so that if he wants to end this friendship, we can do that. Because I didn't feel comfortable continuing to talk to him. And although I didn't understand my feelings in terms of what I was feeling like, because I explained it to him this way. Excuse me. I said to him, I am not a schoolgirl. I'm not a teenager. However, I feel like a schoolgirl in love with you. And I don't know what to do other than to let you know how I'm feeling so that you can make your own decisions, about if we should continue talking or not. And I don't know if he paid attention to me when I said that, because he never said we should stop talking. But shortly thereafter, he started to act different and distant. And I asked him about that, and he told me some things about that I won't go into on this video. However, it wasn't long after that he ghosted me. He ghosted me in a way that it wasn't direct, because every so often he would call and say, I know I haven't been calling, but I've been very busy. Even though he called every now and again to say that, I felt like he was going to smoke up my ass, okay? And he was, because I feel, he has not confirmed it, but I feel that he went back into his past to probably settle some scores there, or to see about his own feelings. He has never ever said to me that he digs me, or that he wants to be with me, or anything like that. I mean, it was kind of like something that was happening. And the reason I'm talking about my feelings is because that's all I can talk about. That's my feelings. And I shared these feelings with him. In fact, when I first mentioned to him twin flames, he had never heard the term. And I told him to Google to find out, because I didn't want to pour onto him what I was going through, because it was enough for me to handle what I was going through. And I couldn't help him if he was going through the same thing I was going through, unless we were on the same page at the same time and were prepared to go forward. In my research and reading, I found that there is a situation where what they call, I don't know what number this is, but somewhere on the number line, they call it the honeymoon phase, is where you are feeling a love that you've never felt before, at a level and depth that you've never felt before, because you have indeed found you. And I used to say to him, you are the male version of me. And I would say, I've never ever met a male who's so much like myself. I mean, he was like if I was being mirrored. So much of him was like me. So many of his ways, just his, I don't know, just so much about him was like me. But at the same time, there were a lot of things that were polar opposites. That to the point that I'm like, who is this guy? You know? And he used to always say, oh, you're so crazy, crazy lady. He would say, that type thing. Or call me weird. And I'd say, you're weirder. Because we would have totally, totally, totally different viewpoints about certain things, But at the same time, we were exactly alike. It was weird. It was weird as fuck, to be honest with you. But after the honeymoon phase, if you will, came separation. That's when I thought I was going to die. That's when I felt like I had died. I felt like my heart was broken into a tree in pieces. And I couldn't share that with anyone, because how do you have a broken heart from somebody that you're not even in a relationship with? Someone who never promised you a relationship, someone who never offered you relationship. I'm talking about in terms of romance. He only asked for friendship. Never, if I had to describe him, I might say that he was player. However, I cannot say he played me, because he never asked me for a relationship. He only asked me for friendship. And even when he would say to me, like I would express to him how I feel, he would say to me that he doesn't want that, and that I was like overstepping my bounds by even expressing to him how I was feeling. But what I was expressing to him is that I didn't want to be on the phone talking to him, knowing full well I was in love with him, and not disclosing that to him. I wanted him to take the opportunity to know how I was feeling, and to, if he didn't feel comfortable continuing to talk to me, to tell me that, so that we would have clear understanding of each other and clear disclosure. Because I felt that it was manipulative to not disclose to him how I was feeling, So the feelings did get more intense. And one of the things on the list is that they talked about one male or female would become the runner, and the other would be the chaser. Well, needless to say, he was definitely the runner and I was the chaser, if you will. I mean, although I didn't feel like I was chasing him, because I just felt so like we were one, that it's like, how you gonna chase yourself? I just felt like I needed to remind him that this is like in certain conversations that we had. I would remind him, I don't know if you want to be having this conversation with someone that's in love with you, because I just wanted to be open and honest, Well, I was open and honest. I would say that he could not handle it. He ran with both feet hitting his back. Okay? And as I said, that devastated me. But I had to suffer in silence. So, I don't know if there is anyone who has gone through the twin flame journey and you've gotten through to what they call union, or reunion. Put it in the comment section and let us know how that goes. For those of you that resonate with the journey and have not gotten to union or reunion, put it in the comment section and let's talk. I had intended to go live with this, right? And I started the new channel, and I come to find out that when you start the new channel, the new rules are you have to have at least 50 subscribers to go live. So I said, okay, I'll just do what I've been doing. Whenever I come on my other channel, my What's the Tea channel, record and then post, So that's what I'm doing. But please feel free to comment, go into details, because this is a situation where, though I'm sharing my story, I'd love to hear your story and hear where you are, because this is not a video for the masses. This video is for specific people who are on the twin flame journey. Because if you are not, you probably won't even understand what this is all about. Because I'm telling you, it is an experience. It's an experience that I would not have been able to make it up. Not possible. It's a feeling. I'm telling you from, as they say, the divine feminine aspects of it. I cannot tell you from the divine masculine aspect of it, because he refused to have conversation with me about it. He said it wasn't true. There's no such thing. That I was in this all by myself, because I had asked him, I said, I'm completely crazy and in this all by myself, or this is something that is generated from the spirit. I told him, I said, I believe that we have been given the gift of true unconditional love. And I said, if you think that you can find that just on any corner, then let me know. I said, you line up 1,000 people. How many of them do you think would be able to say that they've experienced true unconditional love? He said, probably none. I said, exactly. But yet we've been given that gift. And I said to him, I said, if you can find true unconditional love anywhere, let me know where you found it. I'm going to bottle it up and sell it. Because I know that this is a gift from God. Because for what he's put me through, and when I say what he's put me through, I mean he hasn't been nice all the time. And that's not him not being nice intentionally. I drove him to it. Because I pushed for what I felt. And he pushed back. So it hurt me. It hurt my feelings. But that didn't stop me. I just brushed it off and came right back, But I know that as resilient as I am, I would not have done that with some of the discussions that we've had. And it's not like he's a guy that bites his tongue about being rude, I've even told him jokingly, I said, I'm going to whoop your ass for being so rude and teach you some manners. I said, I'm not wearing out any clothes either. I'm whipping all naked ass. you know, but yeah, because he's a rude fucker. Yes. But I have to say that it didn't diminish my love for him at all. It just grew like mushrooms overnight. You know, how I wish my money would grow like that, just popping up like mushrooms overnight. Oh, man. Mm-mm. But anyways, it was like the more bullshit I felt, or horse shit, or whatever kind of shit you want to call it, I felt that was dumped onto the journey, the more our love grew. It's like fertilizer. I'm hoping he never sees this. Ew. I don't know that he's ever watched my channel. I think he did say he watched my channel before, but I don't know if I want him to see this channel because I don't know. I made this to more or less have people of like-mindedness come together and we can have a space where we can talk about how much we don't understand what we're going through or anything that we want to talk about, because as I said, I don't know that people who aren't on the twin flame journey understand this, because it's like something that's crazy. And I feel like I've really been led by the Spirit to even share this, because I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that other people are going through it. But it's kind of a hard place to be in, because to have somebody running from you when your heart seems to grow deeper and deeper, larger and larger in love with them or with that person, and you feel like no one could take that person's place, like you don't ever want to be with anyone else but that person. And like, I feel like even if we never physically get together, I feel like he's my person. And I feel like that's it. That's it. It's like, that's it. He's it. He's it. He's it. I don't know how to explain it. And like I said earlier, that's one of the signs that made me know that there was something else going on that was beyond this 3D existence. There was something otherworldly, if you will. It was something that I did not elect knowingly, because I would have definitely thrown it back. Because as I said, as a runner, he's been nasty. He's been rude. And I guess it's because he didn't understand or doesn't understand, just like I don't. In fact, one of the reasons why I probably wouldn't want him to see this video is because he would say, oh, hell yes, she's delusional. I don't feel that I'm delusional, though, because I know that this is real. I get confirmations from the Spirit. I get downloads. I watch some of the other videos that talk about twin flames. I Googled it. I've done a lot of research on it. And as I said, some of the information is not from people who are truly going through a twin flame, they have jumped on the bandwagon because it seems to be a hot topic. Some people may think that they're in a twin flame relationship, but they are not. They may be in a karmic relationship. They may be in a soulmate relationship, or something like that, but not a twin flame relationship. The twin flame relationship is more or less about spirituality and ascending. It's more about bringing you to a place of ascension and spirituality, bringing you closer to the God within you. It's not as romantic as people might think. It's quite painful, to be honest with you. I guess you could say it's like when a woman is travailing in childbirth and she's in pain, and once the baby comes forth, she forgets about the pain. I'm guessing that. And I'm saying that only because I have not, or we have not gotten to a place of union or reunion or whatever you want to call it, because we've never been a couple. I've had these feelings. I don't know what he's feeling. He's never disclosed that he even likes me, much less love me. I don't know if he likes me. I definitely don't know if he loves me. Sometimes I feel that he loves me deeply. Although he hasn't expressed it, it's just a feeling that I have. I just feel his warmth, his It's hard to explain when a person is denying, because I have asked him if he loves me, if he cares for me. And he said no, no, and no. So, where do you go with that? Sometimes he even says double no, double hell no. But I still feel what I feel, and I know what I feel for him. And that's why I say, this can't be of me. I would not put myself in this situation. It's not like, I've been in relationships before. As I said, we're not in a relationship, but I have been in relationships where I probably got a lot crazy. I ain't gonna say a little bit crazy, I'll say a lot crazy. And this isn't one of those situations, because I feel, as much as I absolutely adore him and love him with all my mind, heart, and soul, there's certain things I'm not going to do, because I believe that if Spirit divinely designed this, then Spirit will divinely bring it to pass. And it's nothing for me to do but what I'm led by Spirit to do. For instance, this video. What is it? We are 54 minutes in. I'm hoping that this is helping somebody. I really hope that this is helping somebody. I have conversations with myself all the time. And before you get weird and say that I'm weird, I say to you, the next time you are praying, see who you're talking to. Yourself. Yeah. Okay. So that's that. But yeah, I've talked to myself about this a lot, which is what helps me to stay sane about the situation and not Give him a 2-piece or 8-piece is better. Yeah, but never mind. Oh, dear God, I love that man. Oh my God. But I wish I was in the shower right now because I feel like I want to cry. And I'm not a crybaby at all. But I'm gonna not. I'm gonna not. And if one tear drop, I'm gonna cut the video off because I'm not. Because you know how sometimes when you start thinking about stuff and you're in the shower and you just crying and bawling your eyes out, nobody knows because the water's all over your face or whatever, and so it's okay. So, oh my God. Oh, I'm hearing Faith Evans. I never knew a love like this before. Yes. 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 That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. Yes. Never knew a love like this before. Mm. Hmm. And the thing of it is, at this point, I'd have to say the weirdest thing is that it's been so painful. That's the way that's the weirdest thing. It's not one of those things where it's googly eyed, butterflies and all like that. This thing has been painful. It's been painful. Um oh God. Uh, I oftentimes ask the question, God within me, if this is of you, then why is it so hard? It's a simple thing. Love is a many splendid thing, but why would he keep running if it's of you? But then when I read about the runner and the chaser aspect of things, it gives me some kind of understanding, a crazy understanding, but an understanding nevertheless. But it's like it has strengthened my faith beyond measure. It has brought me to my knees, in the sense that I know more now than ever I have to rely on the Spirit for everything. I mean, I always did, but I can truly say that more than romance, I've been propelled in my gifts to higher heights and deeper depths. My intuition is off the hook. It's off the chain. It's like way through the roof. It's to the moon, Alice, you know. For those of us that remember Ralph Cramden, to the moon, Alice. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I have the cards here, and I said I would have them here in the event that I felt led to pull some cards. But I've been living this experience, and intuitively, I feel that he loves me as much as I love him. And that's with every fiber of our beings, with our very lives. Um, in spite of what it may look like. And as I said, he's never disclosed to me that he cares for me, um, that he loves me in any way. But intuitively, I feel that he loves me with all of his heart. I feel like he may have never experienced a love like this. Neither have I. I don't know that he's experienced well, you know what? He hasn't, because he always says to me, I never met anyone like you before. I never met anyone like you before. And that makes me feel like it's more than words. The more that we're in separation, the more I believe him, because in knowing where my heart is and knowing where I believe and feel that his heart is, there's no reason for us not to be together except timing, except divine timing. And I get a peace in that. I get a peace in that. Because it's no such thing for me as, well, I'll find someone else or let someone else find me. Because I feel like I'm at home with him. I feel like he's at home with me. And the weird thing about it is that we've never had sex. So it's like, how do you get here without having been physical with someone? Because it feels like it's deeper than any physical relationship that I've had. And I mean, like with my ex-husband, though we could not talk about money on any level, we had a decent sex life. We did. I could probably only think about maybe just a few people that it wasn't okay with for different reasons. But nevertheless, how do you have such a magnified love for someone that you've never been intimate with? That you've never been, well, I won't say intimate, because I think that our phone conversations were quite intimate. And that you see into me being intimate, I think that they were quite intimate in that way. I'm talking about in the physical sense of it. We've never been physical. We've never kissed, necked or anything. Yet I can tell you, if I pass him something or he passed me something, I feel the electricity pass through us. And I don't know that I've ever mentioned that to him, but it's possible that he may have felt the same thing, because let's say we're sitting down and I'm sitting next to him. He'll say to me, "You're too close." Or even this last incident that took place, I won't say it was an incident, but we were just chilling out at his place, and we were sitting next to each other, and like, you know, when you're sitting close to somebody, your leg or touch their leg, because my fat ass thighs reached over to his thigh or his leg or whatever, right? And he said to me to move over because he didn't want to touch me. And he gave me some bogus reason. I wasn't even trying to touch the dude. We just like sitting there watching a show, you know? and having hot dogs. Best meal ever. Um, and it was because not the meal so much, even though we both love hot dogs, it was spending that time with him. It was priceless. Um, we got into it shortly after that about some stupid shit, but anyways, um, he started it. Seems like to me, whenever something like say I'll have a feeling like a real like damn I love this guy feeling. Shortly after that, he'll start an argument with me. And I'm like, what the hell? Why? What happened? What just happened? I was feeling like my heart was overflowing with love. It's like the Ace of Cups card where um um where are my cards at? Ace of Cups. Let's see. Ace of Cups, right? Has, let me see if it's in this deck. The cup overflowing, right? Okay. That's how my heart will be feeling. And then this joker will start some shit. Oh, here it is. Look at that. Look at that. See? Look at that on the Ace of Cups. See? Is that, can you see that? Ace of Cups. Right? You can see that, right, guys? Okay. You can see the Ace of Cups, right? All right. Now, that's how my heart will feel like this cup is filled up, overflowing with love, right? And this joker will start some shit for show. And it was just recently that I started to think, is he feeling the overflowing of love like I'm feeling, but he can't handle it? He doesn't want to talk about it because whatever, he doesn't want to talk about it. He got some other shit going on in his life. I don't know. Because let's say if he was to express how he feel truly, and I mean based off of my intuitive feeling, is that he loves me. And if he was to express that to me, he would have to do something about it. Because that's what happens. When you express love to someone, you have to do something about it, right? So sometimes I think that he doesn't want to express how he feels because he knows he'll have to do something about it. And for whatever reasons, he's concerned about what people will say, what people will think, whatever. And he just sits in his bullshit and does nothing and suffer in silence and cause me to suffer in silence too. And also it could just be that the timing isn't right, I said to him, every time I say something or want to do something and I ask you and you say no to me, initially I'm very upset, but you always turn out to be right. Your reluctance always seems to be the right thing to do. And I'm always happy that you were reluctant and said no. Because I think to myself, if we were to get together and like just mess around or something like that, I wouldn't be able to survive that. I prefer him to keep on running. I'm not going to chase him. Than to have us have an encounter and then have to go back to living without him. That, because it has to be all or nothing. All or nothing. Because guess what? I feel so much like we're one that it's like it's already happening and we're just in the process of whatever. So I don't feel him away from me. I feel him with me. And it has not come from him saying to me that he's with me or even that he wants to be with me. You know, he said he wants friendship, and I'm prepared to offer him that. I think that at this point in time, that's all we could be. You know, but yet and still, I feel like for me, he's my everything. And I hope nobody that knows me sees this video, only because I'm not a mushy person. I'm not even a hold hands in public type person. My ex-husband used to call himself punishing me by holding my hand in public because he knew I wasn't a mushy person. I wasn't a lovey-dovey in the public type person. I'm a behind the closed doors. Ow! I heard somebody say freak. But I am not a what they call a publicly expressive romantic person in the public. I'll say that for behind closed doors. You know, when my mom passed away, and I prayed, God, please don't let me break down in front of everyone. Give me the strength to hold up. I said, I don't have sex in public. I don't want to cry for my mom in public because I felt like that was private. Well, my prayers weren't answered because I did break down in front of people. And I ran into the bathroom. But I'm just saying that I don't feel like I conjured this all up. I feel like this twin flame journey is real. And I'm going to say that this is the energy that we are in. The Ace of Cups. Look at that. Let me see. Let me explore this card in a way I've never explored it before. Hmm. I am seeing the hand of God, if you will, giving to us this Ace of Cups, this love that is overflowing. Look at these lilies. They look like little hearts. Look at that. Look at those lilies. They look like little hearts in the water. Now we know that water is emotions, but these green lilies, they look like a heart. Look, what color is the heart chakra? Green, right? And these are things that I never paid attention to before, lovelies. You got the pink flowers, right? Definitely pink. Or are these like pink roses or something? Or some type of flowers. Pink represents love. We know that. You have the rose quartz, which is a symbol of love. Look at that. Rose quartz. See that? Does that look pink on camera? Pink rose quartz flower, right? I mean, pink rose quartz crystal. That's what that is. The pink rose quartz crystal. Okay? So these look like hearts with rose quartz crystals, I'm going to say. Water is emotions. And it's overflowing. Overflowing into the ocean. Overflowing. You have the dove that's bringing in the little sacrament biscuit. You know, like when you go into church and you take the what they call it, the little wafer that you put on your tongue when you're doing the sacrament. You're doing the blood, the wine, and the cracker. But a lot of people have like this wafer. See that? The dove is bringing the wafer, right, with the cross on it. The cross, connecting spirit with humanity. The cup, it's like the golden chalice, if you will. Now, didn't they say on, what was that movie? Crocodile, was that Crocodile Dundee? No, Raiders of the Last Ark. One of those type movies like that. When they were looking for the Holy Grail, right? Holy Grail or something other. But it was the cup that Christ drank from. Remember that movie? Is that? That's not Indiana Jones. That is Raiders of the Last Ark, I think. Something other like that. One of those type movies. Well, that's what they were looking for. Supposedly the cup that Christ drank from. God is love, right? So I'm going to say that this is what the word is for us, lovelies. Those of us that know what we know, that this is what our twin flame journey is all about. Ace of Cups. Because, as I said, I'm learning that it is about ascension. It's about ascending to higher heights, deeper depths, and about spirituality. Now, this is a spirit hand. See that? That's a spirit hand. I don't know if does this mess things up when I shine a flashlight on it. Maybe it's not good for you, but it's better for me. See? The hand, the spirit hand reaching out the cup, which clearly the cup is something that's tangible. You can touch that. That hand may be spirit, but the cup is tangible. So that is saying to me that the spirit is giving us a tangible love that we can touch. That we can touch. That we can feel. I'm giving him something he can feel. Yep. To let him know my love is real. Oh, Retha. Yes. Uh-huh. I heard you, Retha. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Yes. Mm-hmm. Twin flame journey love is real. Okay? It's as real as we feel it. Yes. Yeah, I need to listen to that, Retha. Yep. I'm giving him something he can feel to let him know my love is real. Mm-mm-mm-mm. How do you do that when you haven't even been physical? You know that that's the spirit. You know that that is the spirit, right? Okay. Mm-mm. I love it. Well, I'm glad I came on to have this time together. Um, as I said, I hope with everything in me, the God in me, that this has been healing, helpful, and giving clarity to all those that need it as much as I did. Because I certainly feel better and at peace. I just needed to give. Because as Loretta said, when you can't take anymore, give. So I ask that you would give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, because this is a new channel that I just started. I don't know. Well, you guys know that I don't know how to edit. So whatever is here is what's going to be here. I don't know how to edit. So, hey, it's got to be what it's got to be. And I'm not certain if I will be able to put it on the What's the Tea channel as well as this new channel, LA Empress of Love, Twin Flame. But we'll see how it goes. But if you are viewing this video on any channel, be kind and subscribe. Be kind and hit the like button. That would be greatly appreciated. If you would like to make a generous donation because you've been inspired to do so, or because you're just looking for a good deed to do, please choose this channel. My Cash App is iamtearoom. $, iamtearoom. I am thanking you in advance for your generous donation, and I'm going to put my Cash App in the details part of the video. You know what I mean? The description part of the video. Yes, that's sufficient. We'll rock with the more simplistic way of making a donation right through Cash App. Any amount would be appreciated. That is $ iamtearoom. And until next time, I'm going to say ciao for now.